Welcome to Brand Rescue, a public relations podcast where we dig into the truth about what it's actually like to work in PR. I'm Whitney Lee. I ditched my fancy corporate job to freelance in small town USA and ended up building an international PR agency. On this show, we skip all the BS and sugarcoating and get into the conversations our industry should be having. It's all real talk, and we love a hot take. Glad you're here. Let's get to it. Hey, friends. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I am recording this podcast from Barcelona, Spain right now. Wish you were here. It is hot. Oh my God. Europe is having the heat wave of the century. I have now been in Barcelona for about a week and a half. And actually, last weekend, I popped up to Madrid when Spain won to see the quarterfinals. And now this weekend, Spain is going to the finals of the World Cup. So it's going to be Spain versus Argentina. And what's interesting is there's actually a massive Argentinian community here in Barcelona. So last night, Argentina beat England and the Argentinians were going wild. So this weekend ought to be pretty exciting. If you haven't been following along on my Work from Europe summer, check it out. I've been doing so much better on posting on social media. Shout out to our girl Anna on our team who has been helping me create some fun reels, and actually post stuff on my Instagram. I went years where I would like post literally only on my birthday and on New Year's Day. So there you go. But I've been really trying to make an effort to document this, and I hope y'all are following. It's been so fun. I've been traveling like this for years and never really told anybody. So this year I kind of just let the cat out of the bag. So it's been really refreshing. But this is hot on my brain, and I thought this was a good topic, because I think everybody in our industry right now is kind of scratching their head about this. Okay, let's go back for a moment. Remember on Sex and the City, and if you haven't watched Sex and the City, oh my God, I don't know. I can't help you. But that show, that is like my teenager, teen Whitney learned so much from that show, good and bad. But anyway, so Carrie is obviously a journalist. She's a writer, for like a love and sex column. And she would go into her editor and pitch ideas of like, okay, what if we write a story about women who only date attorneys, and she would have to convince the editor, like, this is a cool angle, this is relevant, women in the city are talking about this, like, I think it's good for me to write this story. And sometimes the editor would say yes, and sometimes the editor would say no. And all of it was just based on Carrie pitching the idea to the editor and honestly, like the editor's thoughts and feelings about it. Like that's how it used to roll. So now in modern day pitching, right, we reach out to journalists with ideas and it's very similar, right? We're reaching out to the journalist and saying, hey, journalist or editor, this is a hot topic. Here's why you should write a story on it, X, Y, Z. But now it's becoming 10 times harder to get top tier media coverage. Let me stop for a sec. When I say in this episode, when we're talking about pitching, I feel like my opinion I'm sharing right now is really more targeted towards trying to get like national, regional, niche coverage. Okay. If you are pitching in small town USA, this may not apply to you. And we'll talk about why kind of as we get into this, but follow me. Okay. If you are pitching for big, top tier, or niche publications for your industry, this is definitely relevant. Um, so anyway, so now we go and we pitch and we want to get coverage for our clients' new cocktail menu or, they're holding, they're moving locations after 50 years in the same location. I don't know. We've got all these cool things happening and we go and we're cold pitching these journalists, right? When I say cold pitching, what I mean is that we're bringing them a fresh idea. The writer is not saying, "Hey everyone, I'm writing on spicy cocktails. Please send me all the spicy cocktails." That's a warm pitch, right? Because I know the writer is writing about that. Right now I'm talking about cold pitching, okay? So the writer is not writing about this, and we are trying to convince them, like, hey, this is really exciting. You should share this. Okay. These cold pitches are like basically a 1 in a billion shot now. I don't know about y'all, but cold pitches have almost, in my eyes, become a complete waste of time for me, for my team. And I try to explain this to our clients. Okay. Here's why I think it's a waste of time. Because now top tier publications are relying so heavily on web traffic, right? Even if they still make a printed piece, a lot of these like top tier publications, that started as magazines have now gone fully digital and they don't even do a printed piece anymore. But some of them still do printed pieces. They rely so much on digital traffic that they determine the stories and the angles that these writers are writing on. Every journalist I've talked to, I don't think a single one that I have talked to said, I pitch ideas to my editor now. Every single one of them tell me, no, the topic and the angle is assigned to me, and then it's on me to get the data, get the information, and write it up. So, journalists are no longer pitching their editors. Okay. So you pitching a journalist and trying to convince them, it is pointless because the journalist is getting something assigned to them and saying, you're going to write on this. And here's why. Because these media publications, these national ones, have gotten pretty smart. And what they do is they have their digital team, like their SEO experts, their web traffic experts. They have them go and look at web traffic. Right? So if they are a travel publication, of course, I'm going to give you this example because we work so much in travel. If they're a travel publication, their SEO team is looking to see what is getting the most traffic right now on the internet. Oh, everybody's searching for Bali. What's happening in Bali? Like, why is everyone searching for Bali? Bali's getting so much web traffic and searchability that they turn around and give that to the editor. And they're like, hey, we need to write stories on Bali. We need to write stories on, I don't know, New York City. We need to write stories on uh, restaurants serving fresh fish and exotic locations because that's what people are searching for right then. Right. And they want their site domain authority, okay, to go up. And you get that by more web traffic, the right keywords. Okay. So these publications are literally determining their editorial, quote unquote, stories. A lot of it's not even freaking editorial anymore, but I feel like that's maybe I just need like a rant episode. But they're determining their stories and their angles and their topics completely off of web traffic. So you cold pitching a writer or an editor is a freaking waste of your time. Now, here's what I will say in your cold pitch that you could do. I really think this is like the only way to get your cold pitch picked up is that if you have compelling data that shows how many people are searching this right now. Hold on. Let me think of like a good example. Like, let's say your client specializes in teeth whitening and they have some kind of special mm, charcoal product that makes your teeth whiter than anyone else. Okay. Um, if you come to that publication and you're like, hey, look at how many people there's 600 million searches a day on charcoal products for teeth whitening. If you proactively come with valid data like that, I would even bring some screenshots to show that search traffic. If you come with that level of compelling data and show that to them and say, this is why you should write a story on charcoal products for teeth whitening, and my client is the expert to, provide all the quotes, all the expert opinion on it. I think you might have a chance to get that picked up. So we as PR professionals are actually being forced to really learn a lot about SEO and about searchability because we have to have that level of data to have any chance in hell of our cold pitches getting picked up. Okay, I really wonder if any of y'all out there, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, are any of you having success with just cold pitches on a national level? Now, again, the local level, I don't think local publications are at all using this strategy. Local publications honestly aren't so worried. And honestly, a lot of times they're not educated on the power of web traffic to be that strategic. You know what I mean? A lot of these local small publications really run off of, the town gossip mill and who's hot, who's not, what's going on around town, you know what I mean? Like, they're not basing their strategy off SEO. They don't have enough budget to even have an SEO person. They're still operating in a much more old school sense, right? So if you're doing local pitching, then 100% keep on keeping on. But for anyone out there that's doing national pitching, I would really love to know if you have had any success in the past or in the past 2 years. I feel like is really, especially a lot in the last year, but I'll say maybe 2 years. In the last 2 years is when I've started to really feel the shift. Have you had any success with cold pitching in the last 2 years without some form of digital SEO data to like validate your angle? So today's episode is pretty quick, but that has been on my brain. And again, we're trying to educate our clients on this. They don't really understand this, and they're just like, "No, what happens is we do something cool, you pitch it, and then we get a story," you know? And I'm like, "Yeah, we can do that on a local level, but nationally, I freaking feel like that ship has sailed." And what's even worse about it is that, these national publications are determining the angle through SEO and then using AI to write the stories. I actually saw something the other day about ghostwriters are now just AI personalities. Like these publications are putting up stories on their website and it's written by Adrian Rodriguez, and Adrian Rodriguez does not exist. And so all these people are seeing that Adrian Rodriguez is writing on the top 5 sushi restaurants in Miami. And so people are like pitching and like getting his email and pitching it through Muck Rack and stuff like that. And he doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. Y'all, the times are changing. And even, like I said, getting editorial coverage now has become so freaking pay to play that pitching has become just probably one of the least valuable things we do for our clients. I will stand by that. We can get them media coverage in different ways, but just spending hours and hours pitching for our clients, I try to explain this whole scenario to them, and a lot of times, again, they just can't wrap their head around it. And also, I think we as PR professionals are trying to figure out what to do, you know? So, anyway, would love your thoughts on this topic, y'all. Or maybe you're a journalist and you have, thoughts or insights to share to us about, as PR professionals about how to get it picked up. Or what is going to become our new strategy? That's what I need to do an episode on is if we pull a lot of PR companies, really all they focus on is media relations. Now, my company, we are very diversified. We are a PR agency by name, but we do a lot of marketing. We do paid and organic social. We help clients with, influencer work. We do a lot more than just media relations, but a lot of PR companies, they focus on media relations. So I'm like, dude, what is this happening? How is this changing their life? Because again, we've just shifted to focus on other things and push harder in other ways, and get coverage for different things. But I'd be so interested to know if anybody out there is strictly doing media relations as their primary service. Like, how has this changed your life? So, would love to hear from y'all. Hit me up on Instagram. It's the Whitney Lee. And also you can hit me up on LinkedIn. So, thanks for tuning in, y'all. We will see you on the next episode. That's it for today. If something in this episode landed for you, share it, screenshot it, and send it to someone in the industry who needs to hear it. And come connect with me personally on Instagram at the Whitney Lee, or you can find me on LinkedIn. See you next week.